my name is Ms. Mellen. I'm the program coordinator here at the Baum School of Art in Allentown. Today I'm with you because we're going to be working on an abstract painting inspired by the story Peter and the Wolf. I also suggest that you listen to Peter and the Wolf while you work on this project. Hearing the music that goes along with the script is really going to help you feel these emotions when you start to paint. Before we get started, let me also go over what sort of supplies we have in our kits. One of the first things is this white sulfite paper. I usually refer to it as scrap paper because we use it to get our ideas down and practice techniques. That's so that we don't mess up our canvas. So we have this big giant canvas, okay, that we're going to be using. It's nice and flat, so it should be easy to work with. That's what we're going to put our final painting on. We also have at least 2 different types of brushes, okay? You should have something that's a little square and something that's a little pointier. Yours might look a little different than mine, but they work just the same, I promise. Now we also should have a water cup. Make sure you never fill it more than halfway. You don't want to be splashing water and paint everywhere. We also finally have our paint. So the colors that we're using are the primary colors, red, blue, and yellow, as well as black and white. With those, we can mix pretty much any color that we're going to need. All right, so one of the parts in the script that really stuck out to me that I would like to base my painting on is when Peter catches the wolf by the tail and he's jumping wildly up and down trying to get loose, okay? So the wolf is really angry in this moment and he's jumping up and down and he's trying to get out of this rope that has its tail caught. So we're going to go ahead and think up some brainstorming ideas about what this might look like if we're not really drawing the wolf jumping up and down. So I want to get things like color. So what colors do we think of when somebody's angry or, kind of like nervous energy, right? Because he's caught, he's trapped, and he's trying to get away. So there's sort of a struggle here. I want to pick some colors that will work well with that. I also want to think about the types of brush strokes I'm using. So the wolf is jumping, he's jumping up and down, he's moving erratically. So I'm not going to use soft, serene lines or like smooth, wavy strokes. I'm going to use more up and down, wild, erratic brush strokes, which will actually be really fun to paint with too. All right, so let me get out my scrap paper and we'll test out some of these ideas that I'm having. All right, so let's pull out our scrap paper and we're going to just get down some ideas based on this part of the story. So during this situation, the wolf is angry, right? So colors that we think of when we are feeling angry might be some reds, like I said. And again, I want some like wild, up and down, erratic lines happening because he's jumping, right? He's jumping around. Now you can add a little bit of water too and make smoother colors, okay? When you're not using water, that's called dry brushing, and you'll get this kind of rough texture. It also happens when you just run out of water on your brush. To get soft, smooth colors, it's better to use street acrylic paint and kind of go a lot slower, okay, if you want to fill in a solid area. So maybe I want to create a background at some point. Before I go in with my wild lines, I would do this and get my color down smoothly, let it dry, and then go back over top. The nice thing about acrylic is if you don't use too much, it does dry very quickly. So we don't have to wait too long to continue on with our painting. You can also do what's called wet on wet, where you go back in and work with a new color right on top of something that didn't dry yet. There's lots of things you can try out. So again, red might make me think of anger and frustration and jumping around. I think I might also put some yellow in here. Okay, so if I tried out a yellow, and you'll see that as I use my yellow, it mixes with colors I've already put down. So now I have some like orange colors and things. Again, since the wolf is upset and angry, I might want to really get some crazy lines in here. Okay, and we're just testing stuff out. This is not what my final painting has to look like. I'm just seeing what looks neat, right? So right here, I'm really liking these wild, crazy strokes. And this red block that I put down is kind of giving me a feeling like this is the thing that's freaking out. So this is kind of my wolf, even though, again, it doesn't look like a wolf. If I want to make it look like a wolf, I could always add some ears. Okay? And maybe a big swoop to give the idea of a body and his tail. Don't forget to clean your brush in between changing colors. All right, so I'm liking this idea, but I think I need more colors than just red and yellow. So what else colors can we think of that would make us feel angry or that like anxious, scared feeling, especially when you've got caught, right? So the wolf has been caught by his tail, so he's feeling all of this. I think that I'm gonna use some green, believe it or not. Green always has a connotation of kind of nervousness and jealousy and nausea, and I feel like, you know, maybe the wolf is feeling some of that when he gets caught. So let's make green. We can use yellow and a little bit of blue to get our green. If it's not a light enough green for you, for your liking, you can always add some more yellow. All right, and I can go in here and maybe I'll put some lines over here to indicate that his tail is caught. And I'm thinking some like quick splats down here give me the idea that he was running away, and these are all the paw prints from when he was running. Okay, so these are ideas for my painting. Your painting might look completely different, right? So maybe you picked something like the bird chirping happily on the fence. Let's say I wanted to work on a part where the bird is chirping happily. So we don't want erratic, crazy lines that make us feel anxious or scared. We want something maybe smoother and calm. So if I'm working on something where maybe the bird is singing, maybe I will have a lot softer lines. I also used blue, which is a very calming color. And when I think about a bird singing, I also think of them tweeting, which is kind of a sharp noise. So maybe I will put some little star shapes in here. Maybe these little expressive lines to give the idea of tweeting. And then my bird himself, I think I'm gonna make a purple to give the idea of a bird who is doing all of this tweeting. So we're gonna take some blue and a little bit of red to make purple. Okay, and this will give you a dark purple. You can always add white if you want it to be a lighter purple. And I can go back in here and maybe use a circle and some little pointy pieces. Give me the idea of a bird head that is making those tweety singing noises. And I might even want to go back in with some light purple. And again, put in some like happy colors, okay? And these are, again, just ideas. So I can look at this and say, I really like this, but I don't like that the bird's head is overlapping with my soft blue colors. Maybe when I do this for real on my canvas, I would change that a little bit. It's totally up to you. Now these kind of give us expressive ideas without really drawing what we are talking about, okay? So we get the idea that maybe there's something anxious and extreme happening here, and that maybe something happy and, you know, singing is happening over here. But I didn't really draw the bird or the wolf. This is the important part of an abstract painting that I hope I get across to you. It doesn't have to look like anything, but it should feel like something, which is a difficult concept to get across, but I think we can do it using color and shape. All right, so now we have our big canvas out. Make sure that you are working with it in this orientation. Right now it is horizontal, which means the longest way is in front of us. This is called a landscape painting. Now we're not really painting a landscape, that's just what this orientation of the page is called. You might want to keep your inspiration sketches and doodles, you know, close at hand to look at, but you don't need them. You can always start something completely new and different.
All right, so there you can see my painting is a lot different than my first one. Okay, so I have my sketchy doodles here, and I ended up changing my wolf imagery to be black, but I still have all the other aspects I wanted to get in. So again, he's jumping up and down, he's angry, so he's moving rapidly, right? I didn't actually draw a real wolf. I drew something that gives you the impression that there's a creature here who's jumping up and down and moving rapidly and angry and trapped, right? So he's kind of almost too big for the space. It kind of feels like he's in a cage. This is what I mean by abstract. We're going for image and movement and color more than something that is easy to look at image, right? This should evoke emotion. It shouldn't just be a very obvious painting of something that you would see every day. So when you look at this, you can kind of create your own story about what's going on, even if you never read what I read that inspired the piece.
Thank you so much for painting with me today. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Hopefully you enjoyed this abstract take on Peter and the Wolf.